A wonderful soul departed this earth earlier this week. From the time I met his family, they always treated me as nothing but family. And I had the pleasure to know him for most of my life. He was there from the time, I was in high school to when I met my wife, when I got married, to the birth of my first child. They always say, don't be sad because you lost them, be happy because you had them. But I think in this instance, it's okay for both. I am sad he is no longer among us, but I'm happy for the time that me and his family and everyone else who knew him had with him. So with that said, this episode of The Blatino Nerd is dedicated to the memory of Keith Caiola. Thank you, Big Unk. May you rest in peace. I miss you already.
You're listening to the Blatino Nerd.
Yay!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Blatino Nerd. I am the Blatino Nerd, and joining me again is my good friend Slay Guevara. Welcome back.
Hi again, guys. So excited. Must be so excited to see me again. I know, it's like...
I'm sure
it's that weirdo again. I had no idea what she was saying last time, but she sounded excited, so...
So the Slay and Jay connection are here.
The Slay and Jay connection. I'm obsessed with it. I love it.
Right? It works.
My obsessive shower thoughts clearly, come to something.
Absolutely. But we are here to give you our thoughts on last night's Survivor Series. Thank you for staying up so late with me.
Oh, God. You say that. I'm going to admit, I fell asleep. Not for a substantial amount of it, but I think it was the entrances. I think it was the Roman versus Drew entrances.
Right.
I kind of was starting to go a bit, and then I was like, no, I want to see this. I'm going to force myself away. And then I think it was, when we had 1,700 old men making entrances for 5 hours.
17.
I kind of, I wasn't aware of it, and then I was aware that I was being sort of lightly, kept awake by my girlfriend, and she's like, babe, you're drilling on the sofa, either sit up and watch it or go to bed.
That's fantastic.
It was disgusting. Well, I was also slightly drunk while watching this pay-per-view, so my reviews, I've attempted to compile some coherent thoughts on it, but also I'd had a bottle of wine by the time the pre-show was over, so it's
that's fantastic.
It's just what you do, I mean, that might also have had something to do with the falling asleep and drilling on the sofa, so that's...
Hey, whatever works. I mean, I had sent the wife and the kid to bed because I was like, it's Survivor Series, this is probably going to be a long one. I'm like, so if you don't want to stay up and watch
it ended up being 3.5 hours long or something. It was a big one, because we started watching it from 10 minutes into the pre-show as well, so it was it was an investment.
I didn't even watch the pre-show. I don't even I was out to dinner with my wife and a friend of ours, so
there was an incredibly non-consequential battle royal in the pre-show that there was no reason behind it being there, but they were like, shit, we've got all these people,
we
let's
gotta
just
do
do
something.
this. Yeah, Miz won. It was the one thing that I did appreciate about it, though, was that Chad Gable fully looked like baby Kurt Angle, and that makes me very happy.
I love.
I watched this fantasy booking video where they were like, Chad Gable should have been Kurt Angle's illegitimate son, and now that's in my head, it's I can't get rid of it, and I'm glad that they've gotten rid of the Shorty G crap as well. He didn't deserve that.
And he's not even that short. He's just shorter than most of the roster.
I mean, if he's Shorty G, I'm 5'2". I don't want to know what I am. like, oh god, yeah. So that was the thing that happened. Like, Miz kind of reinstated his role as like king of the pre-show, which was great. Like, that's, you know, he had a brief moment of maybe going somewhere, and it's like, nope, this is
Miz
get back in your
deserves
place, you know.
Miz deserves better than the pre-show, though.
He really does, though. Like, I'm gonna be really honest, I was kind of gunning for a cash-in, like, on the Drew, because that was like the prime opportunity as well, because like, regardless of the outcome, after taking on Roman Reigns, you're not gonna be okay. So like, that's gonna be easy.
Right.
It's like, so you think if you were gonna do it ever, that was the point, but no, he was, you know, too busy being buzzing about winning a crap battle royal. So
yeah, I know. Like, oh boy, here we go. Mr. Money in the Bank wins an inconsequential battle royal.
yeah,
I'm here for it.
I mean, again, it's probably better than Otis, but like, I was amused by that for all about 5 minutes, and it's like, oh, he's using it as a lunchbox. Oh, this entire angle is just haha fat. Like,
yeah,
great. I'm really interested. Obviously.
See, I love Otis. Even so, like, I got a Body by Steak shirt, and it's like my favorite shirt like ever at the moment.
I sincerely, unironically want the Money in the Bank lunchbox. I'm not gonna lie. Like, that's.
I actually had a Money in the Bank briefcase, and I have no idea what happened to it.
Oh god, it's like, I keep like, my favorite thing at the moment is just the crap on the WWE shop though. They're doing like Christmas tree ornaments that are like, this is like my new favorite thing, that they've got like an elf on the shelf that's the Fiend.
I kind of really want it, but I don't want to scare the hell out of my child.
See, I don't have that. I don't have the child problem. I kind of want it just for reasons, but like, my mum questions enough of my life decisions as is. I really don't think. I think that'd be like a nail in the coffin there. That's like, it's bad enough that we have like an entire ornamental display on my like mantelpiece of all of my girlfriends' like special editions of the video games that come with all the like merchy stuff. It's like, I have Hulk Hogan on my mantelpiece. You can't really get worse than that. Like,
well. Yeah, okay. No, I got nothing.
Okay, and I promise that's going to be the last time that I shit on Hulk Hogan in this video.
Oh, it is. It probably won't be today.
Probably won't be, but, you know, I might have my fingers crossed. You didn't know that. Like,
I will probably never stop shitting on Hulk Hogan, but...
He deserves it, let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, let's
be you had your time, now we're going to shit on you, because, you know, you're ancient and probably couldn't kick my ass anymore, so, like...
Now, I find it interesting that his absence was the most surprising to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, Undertaker made his debut at Survivor Series with Hogan.
Yeah, that was a bit of an odd one, actually. Now that you pointed it out, it's like...
And I thought, like, of all people, Hulk Hogan would be there to see him off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that totally makes sense, actually. Oh, tell you what else you missed on the goddamn pre-show. It was another amazing Survivor Series debut. The fucking Gobbledygooker was on the pre-show. The Gobbledygooker won the 24/7 title and held on to it for a good hour and a half. Like,
I mean, stranger things have happened, but
stranger things have happened. I was like, I knew that it was going to come up somewhere, and I'm glad that it came up in an R-Truth bit and wasn't like not serious. Like, I was like, he's going to come out like during like Taker's thing, and it's going to be a whole mess, and it's going to be horrible. But
I'm not
thankfully,
gonna lie.
Good taste prevailed for once with wrestling. So
I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of hoping Taker would win the 24/7 title on the way out the door.
Oh no, that would have been brilliant. Actually, I'd kind of thought that,
like plot twist, like right before he goes.
That would have been beautiful. Like, I would have actually loved that. Not gonna lie. Yeah, no. So the pre-show was garbage, as it usually is, and then actual show, I genuinely cannot think of where to start, because I was like, I had moments where I was like, this is good, I'm enjoying this, and then others where I was asleep and drooling on the couch. So
I enjoyed the men's Survivor Series match because I feel like I know he's leaving to take a little hiatus or not to go be a dad. But Seth Rollins' whole thing just seemed like a giant fuck you to Vince, and I love it.
And it also, they're like, oh my God, we get it, you're Jesus, you've been telling us this for months, like, way to batter us over the head with it. Like, it was quite nice though, but also, like, I don't know, I think that was very, like, I was watching this, like, this is very on the nose with your whole thing.
Absolutely.
And I kind of loved it, honestly. But then also, he kind of made such a whole, like, actually, you know, it was a way to make a point and then realized it was completely moot because his qualifying match was against Rey Mysterio. So, of course, he was going to kick his ass. But, like, I was like, you made such a big deal about getting on the team and now you don't want to be on the team. Like,
yeah. Like,
make your mind up.
That's just another. That was just another shit on Rey Mysterio moment.
Oh, yeah. Rey Mysterio's been getting shat on quite a lot. I think that's, again, don't know who he upset. It was probably Paul Heyman. Let's just blame him. But like, the men's Survivor Series match though, like, the pacing of that was just glacial though. Like, I really didn't like a lot of it just because it was very thing happening and then quite a lot of nothing happening, and it was just like, I'm bored. Like, also, like, there was moments that I kind of got into, and then, you know, it was just like, I'm doing, like, Keith Lee and Otis was beautiful. Like,
I love Keith Lee so much.
Oh god, absolutely say, like, he's just one of my favorite people. Like, that was brilliant. Like, I really liked his bits in that. The one and only thing that I could like even think about Braun Strowman is the fact that his gloves that he wears in the ring look like gardening gloves, and that was just the only thing that was running through my head that whole time. Like, oh, that was the other thing. Kevin Owens somehow being the only person that's had a go at my best friend Matt Riddle's feet this entire time. Like, that's been an open, like, window of opportunity for months, and I'm glad that someone finally did it. Like,
that's amazing.
I was genuinely quite amused by that, but
the picture you sent me, you were like, Matt Riddle at his feet, and I'm like, yep, it starts.
It's just, here we go again. I was just mad that he was on the team because I had to look at him. Like, that's he had his stupid fucking face was there, and it was bothering me, and it just, like, his mere existence upsets me at this point. Like. But again, I think we've driven that point home pretty hard recently. But also, changing his name right up my arse, that's really bothered me, and I really, really don't like it, especially since I found out why they did it.
And just like, Riddle?
Yeah, basically, because Matt Riddle's his actual name, they dropped his first name so that if people look up stuff to do with his current legal proceedings involving the Speaking Out movement, if they Google Matt Riddle, stuff about that's going to come up, and they're trying to bury it, essentially, which is great. We love that.
I always think that, like, I always thought it was weird because Vince just seems to have this.
He also just hates first names.
Yeah, and he just seems to have this thing with, like, one-named wrestlers.
Yeah, which is, like, you know, it's interesting, but
yeah, it's like he took Antonio away from Cesaro.
Mm-hmm.
He took. What was it? Alexander. He took Alexander from Rusev.
Mm-hmm.
What's another one?
I'm sure that there's more people in it. Yeah. I'm genuinely struggling here, but it's definitely a recurring thing. Like, it's just
Dozovic. That's right. Otis.
Yeah, like, that's. I have to say, like, Otis just on its own, like, I actually do quite enjoy that as a name just because it tells you literally everything you need to know about this man. It's like, he's a redneck, he's a comedy character, that's it, that's all you're getting. Like,
it's funny. Like, again, I'm a big Otis fan, and me and my buddy at work all day, whenever one of us does something, and they're like, "Hey, did you finish with that customer?" Just go, "Oh yeah."
It's infectious, honestly. Like, I do it all the time. It's not even on purpose. It's basically just like a tick at this point. Like, I've got no say in the fact that this happens, like, daily for me. It just does, and that's the power of WWE. It's like brain claws. That's just how it is now.
He actually calls me Tucky.
Oh,
I'll come out of the bathroom and go, "Tucky," and I'm like, "What's up?"
What have they done to Tucky though? They've like. Aiden cut his hair, which I'm livid about because his hair was fucking majestic, and now
let's make him heel and feed him to Retribution.
Feed him to Retribution, and now he's on, like, Main Event, and he just looks like development talent. Like, you turned him heel and made him into a jobber.
Absolutely, and I would like to throw out there that I didn't know that Main Event was still a thing.
Yeah, I think the first time that I became aware that it was still a thing was I think that somebody had said, like, Natalia had been on it, and I was watching, like, a YouTube video that was, like, I think it was, like, the Cultaholic, like, WTF moments or something, and it was something about, like, it was about Natalia beating my one true love, Tamina, in that match for something, and it was, like, something about Natalia was on main event, where she firmly belongs, by the way, and it was, like, leave her alone, it wasn't that bad.
She firmly belongs.
Like,
I have to get my buddy Matt on here because you have to hear him. You have to hear him shit on Natalia. I always feel so bad, but it's always so funny.
I like the idea of Natalia, but she is yet to do anything that I've actually enjoyed this year, apart from briefly being gay married to Lana, and even then that was just out of a sense of lesbian obligation. So, like,
I love it. Yeah, wasn't like Lana gay married to like Liv Morgan for like an episode of Raw?
Yeah, like Lana's been A, gay married, and B, just married to a lot of people. Like, it's like, I don't know what that's all. I actually, like, I'm like a massive sad nerd weirdo, and I like write fantasy bookings all the time for stuff, and I had this one thing that I'd written about, like, there's this whole feud with Lana and Natalia where she, like, in the middle of, like, a thing, screams at Natalia, like, I want a divorce, and it's this whole thing, and it turns out no one realized they were married, they just thought they were really good friends, and, like, they get, like, couples counselling from Kevin Owens and stuff, and it's this whole thing, God. And I'm like, I wrote it and then immediately got sad, because I was like, this is never going to happen, and anything that does happen with the two of them is going to ruin my life, because it's not this, and then they broke them up for no reason, so, like, it was worse than I'd anticipated, really. Like,
see, I like that. I like that angle with, like, Natalia and Lana having problems. But if we're gonna do that, we got to get the doctor from the whole Kane and Daniel Bryan thing. It has to be him. Has to. No.
My whole thing was that they were gonna go on the KO show and, like, have him suggest they get couples counselling, and then turn up to couples counselling, and the counsellor is KO, but maintains that he's not KO, has no idea who KO is, has never seen KO before, and doesn't know what they're talking about. Like, and it was just like,
that's great.
Stupid thing, and I'm like, why? Like, hire me so that I can write dumb gay shit, please.
If you work for WWE and you're hearing this, you need to hire.
I mean, yeah. The other ones that I've done have been crap. I've done a Tamina title run, and which is obviously going to be shite.
Tamina deserves at least one more title run before she hangs it up.
One more. She's had the 24/7 title for 10 minutes, and that's it. Like, it's not fair. Like, 10 years. Come on, give her 5 minutes with a tag title or something. Like,
10 years. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, like, it's bananas, and it's also like, she's like 42. Like, she's got an absolute maximum, like, 5 years left in her, I think, and it's like, she deserves it. Come on, like. Agreed. But yeah, no. Anyway, back on Survivor Series, like, that men's thing, I genuinely cannot think of another. I've wrote notes which get gradually more and more incoherent on account of drunkenness and sleepiness. You know, I've only got one thing written down. It's AJ Styles' giant boyfriend. So
almost.
Yeah, that's that whole angle's bananas, and I don't understand it. It's like, he's just got this random giant man that follows him around everywhere, but he doesn't talk to him and didn't know that he spoke English until Friday or Monday, and, like,
honestly, that was my favorite thing about this whole story so far. And he goes, I didn't know. How come I didn't know you speak English? Goes, well,
you never asked.
And then, like,
it was lovely.
Then you expect the, big, tall, like 7-foot guy. You thought he was gonna have, like, this big, like, gruff voice, and he's like, just like, well, you never asked.
It was lovely. I'm really enjoying his, like, general presence. Like, I like him. I mean, I'm also glad that he's no longer the big ninja, which is, like,
yeah,
because that was whole weird thing. I don't know what it is that WWE has got with hiring amazing talent from Japan and then ruining them. Because you've got Akira Tozawa, who is now a ninja. You've got Shinsuke Nakamura, whose biggest thing that he's done recently is punching AJ Styles in the deck. Like, and he was the tag champion, I suppose, but, like, he, like...
One of my favorite Shinsuke moments is actually right after the first time he fucking low blows AJ. So Renee Young asks him about it, and then he just goes, "Sorry, no speaking English." It just walks in.
I know exactly the bit you're talking about, and I love it.
I was like, that is so fucking stereotypical, but brilliant at the
So
same
beautiful.
time.
Yeah, it's one of these things. They're both brilliant. Why have you got them reduced to like sort of person who wrestles occasionally and dresses like Joan Jett and ninja? Like,
and you know, that's my biggest fear for Kushida, because I love Kushida, and I'm like,
same.
they're gonna bring him up to the main roster, and then he's gonna be like some fucking ridiculous samurai character.
Yeah. And it's like, no, we like Back to the Future. Let's stick with that. He's already got an abundantly stupid gimmick. Let's just keep that one. Like,
but I mean, I guess I can't expect any more from a guy who tried to convince the world that a 600-pound Samoan dude was Japanese for 7 years.
Gosh. Yeah. It's like, and that's the thing that seems really bananas to me, because every single other person that they've ever had that is even remotely Samoan, they really go hard with that as well. So it's like, why have we changed our mind with this one specific person and like
what'd you
put him in a nappy and had him sit on people? Like,
what'd you say your name was? You're related to who? Nah, you're Japanese. You're Japanese. That is what it is. Also, speaking of Samoan, and I've been a wrestling fan again my whole life. I didn't know that Rosie and Roman Reigns were brothers.
What?
Yeah.
This is news to me as well.
Rosie.
Oh my god.
The old superhero in training. God rest his soul, by the way. Yeah, him and Roman Reigns were brothers.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And I was like, and then I saw the picture of like Rosie back when he was in like 3-minute warning.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, I see it.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it took like them doing the whole family angle with Roman and Jay that I realized that Rikishi was the Usos' dad. So like,
yep.
That's, I actually like, I got like, I'm a little bit kind of like some flavor of autistic, I think, and I tend to do this thing where I get really, really fixated on one thing for several hours at a time, and I actually sat and researched the entire like Anoa'i family tree for like hours. Right. Again, because I'm fucking obsessed with Tamina, and I was trying to figure out how the hell she's related to them. And then, like, I was like, okay, so now I know literally everything about these people, apart from somehow that Rikishi is the Usos' dad. Like, that slipped by me completely somehow.
So Tamina was Jimmy's daughter.
No, she's Jimmy Snuka's daughter. Jimmy Snuka's Fijian, actually. He's not even related to them. He basically married into the family. Her mum's related to Alpha and Sika. Like,
right.
That's where the tie-in with that family is. So, like, that's also why she's billed just from the Pacific Islands, because she's half Fijian. Like,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
And also, speaking of random members of the family tree, I don't know, do you remember Deuce and Domino?
The names are ringing a bell, but I can't think why.
They were two dudes who basically dressed as if like they were in the movie Grease.
Okay.
And I later discovered that one of them, I believe Deuce, was Jimmy Snuka Jr.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I think did he not go by like Sim Snuka at one point as well?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, that's why I recognize it.
He used to be Deuce.
I did not know that.
Yep. And 3-minute warning. Jamal and Rosie, who Jamal later became Umaga.
Mm-hmm.
And Rosie became the SHIT, superhero in training.
That's so terrible.
Which was fucking, that was brilliant. I don't care what anybody says, like, that was fucking brilliant.
Just at face value, that sounds bananas, but also I'm partially into it. Like,
SHIT.
Like, crap acronyms, purposely crap acronyms make me really happy, and I don't know why. Like,
I'm like, wild times. But, back to,
yeah, I don't think we're even out of the 5-on-5 yet, honestly. Like,
I was actually going to segue into the next 5-on-5, but I couldn't think of how to do it.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to think I don't know if you want to do it chronologically or like the women's 5-on-5. Let's just do that while we're on the 5-on-5. That one, okay. I say that I didn't like the men's one. That one was worse. Like,
There were a few surprises in
Mm.
the women's one for me. For example, I think Liv Morgan finally showed that, there is some real talent and ability there.
Mm-hmm.
She was
Oh,
the
completely.
she was the biggest surprise of that match for me.
Mm. That match has left me wanting one thing, and it's Bianca winning the Rumble. Like, I want to see her versus Sasha so badly.
Yes, absolutely.
Because she
That
is
needs to be a thing.
just brilliant. Like, that's the thing, is because she was kind of like, after leaving NXT, she kind of just floated about and then occasionally turned up and was like, I'm married to the dude from the Street Profits. I exist. Hi. And then fucked off for 6 weeks. Like, she is genuinely incredible. Like, it's like, that wasn't news to me, but that match also really, really drove it home just how fucking good she is.
Yeah.
Like, that's... And then, like, I'm trying to think what else happened.
Also,
Natalia
let's
finally tapped someone out with the sharpshooter. That's not happened in ages. Like, that was impressive, ? Like...
Impressive?
Yeah. It's like, you should be able to do that effectively by now. It never works for you,
Absolutely.
but, you tried your best.
Speaking of the sharpshooter, and this is something else I just learned randomly. I always thought the sharpshooter was just a really, really like cool name for a finisher.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, if you're looking at it from the correct angle, it actually makes the crosshairs of a sniper rifle.
Oh, I did not know that. That's quite cool,
Yes.
actually.
And I just thought like Bret the Hitman Hart was just a really cool nickname he gave himself.
Holy crap.
But no,
you're
calling
watching
himself,
my brain explode in real
he's
time.
calling himself a marksman. The excellence of execution.
That's so cool. Oh my
right?
God,
And I'm
that.
like, and I've always loved Bret Hart, but upon learning that, I love him like so much more now.
Yeah.
And
but that's so cool. Like,
and I did the science of it, and then I'm looking at a sharpshooter, and I'm like, holy shit, that is crosshairs. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Wow.
Like, I mean, speaking of the women's I keep saying battle royal 5-on-5. The one thing that really, really pissed me off was that through line with Lana. I'm really mad at that ending. Like,
yeah,
I have to say, like, I think that I was a bit my view on Lana was a bit kind of like sort of I've forgotten the word, like kind of skewed going into it because I just watched her 24 documentary, it was a Chronicle documentary, which is really, really emotional and made me like really, really feel for her. So I was like, give my gal a moment, like she deserves it. Like it was because she basically talked in this, I don't know if you'd watched it or not, but she basically talks about like people, despite the fact that she loves being in WWE and everything, she is out of the like women superstars one of the most universally hated people, and throughout the pandemic she's not been able to even like look at her phone and like look at comments because every time she posts anything or does anything, people kind of are like, you deserve to be fired, like go jump off a bridge, like whatever, and they're really vitriolically horrible to her. And that's the thing, like I kind of made that observation that people don't like letting wrestlers grow. Like if you debut and you're crap forever. Like it doesn't matter if you show improvement, that's their perception of you forever. So I was like, I really wanted her to get a moment, especially after the stuff with Nia, and like especially after her like just her like standing on the ring apron like or on the steps like sad the whole match. I was like, I want her to have a moment, and then winning by accident was just you made a mess of that story. Like
I legitimately felt bad for her because she looked like the look in her face. I could tell like it. It's all kayfabe or whatever, but it looked so legit, and I don't know if that was like her actual acting ability or if she was just like, they fucking put me in this match and then they told me to win. And it was like literally look like stand here and look pretty.
I know, it was so upsetting. And see, that's the thing, is I kind of initially, because obviously the finish of that with Bianca and Shayna getting counted out and then Lana by accident being the sole survivor, I would love to think that what had meant to happen there was that Shayna was meant to get counted out, Bianca wasn't, they had a thing and then Lana wins properly. But
Right.
I think that's putting too much faith in WWE to do something that makes sense. So, like...
That's true. However, the only reason I didn't mind the count-out finish is because Bianca doesn't walk away from it looking weak.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I was like, if you're going to do that with Lana, there's an element of kind of squashing Bianca a little bit, which isn't, like, needed. Like, she is a fucking incredible performer, and I don't think she gets enough credit for it. So, like, hi!
My child has decided to join us.
Hello!
Hi.
Oh, that's so cute.
The microphone can hear you. You don't have to be that close up on it, kiddo. We have a special uninvited guest this episode.
Fantastic.
I like to sit.
Here we go.
Excellent. This is great.
That's as far as it's going to go, kid.
I cannot even.
It's okay. You can... She's trying to get in here.
And I need to not swear for longer than 30 seconds. So that would be hard.
You're fine. She lives with me.
That's fine then.
Yeah, she lives with me. She's good.
I always get really panicked whenever I'm around children because it's like, look at the state of me. I'm such a destabilizing influence. You get like avert your eyes, but also like
The table is not in your way, kid. Oh, she's complaining. So move this here.
This is excellent.
Yeah, this is. Now, how are you going to get out is my question. Or how are you going to get in the chair? Because now you're stuck. Nope, there she goes. Fantastic.
Oh.
Well, guys.
Somehow, from someone. Yeah.
Move that back. You don't have to talk so close into the microphone. It can hear you.
If you walk. Hello.
Hi.
Did you work?
They don't work.
Oh.
They're off.
Wear them. They make you look important. Like that's like it's official.
No, I need these.
I've defaulted to Asuka for some reason. This is just what I'm doing now. Just Asuka dance break.
You can't have my headphones. I need them. You'll have another episode soon, kid. Right now we're talking about wrestling. You know what? I'm not going to edit this. This is going to stay in the episode.
It's staying here. I think it needs to. The world needs to hear this. It's very important.
Shark. Daddy shark.
We're getting a musical intermission. This is puppery as well. This is a full halftime show that we're getting here. This is lovely.
Grandma shark. Grandpa shark. Grandpa shark. Grandpa shark. Run away. Run away. Saving last. Saving last. It's the.
She actually did the whole song. Jesus.
Yes. Very important.
Oh, there's two mittens.
Oh boy.
We're very impressed with ourselves here, clearly.
Those are my oven mitts.
Microwave!
Okay. Anyway, back to the match. I was also very, very pleasantly surprised by Peyton Royce.
Oh my god, yes, I love Peyton. Like,
Hell of a show.
also her like just taking a brief detour here to be a bit gay. Her new hair is stunning. I'm so obsessed with it. It's so pretty.
Agreed.
Like, I have to say, like, I still, like, every time I see Peyton doing anything, there's a little tiny bit of me that just gets really, really sad because I miss the Iconics. Like,
Right.
it's like, what was the point? Why did you do that? There was no need.
Yeah, I still don't fully understand breaking up the Iconics.
Well, no, because they were apparently making the Riot Squad's lives miserable by being slightly annoying for 2 weeks. Apparently, that's.
But now I can't. But now I can't do this anymore.
I know. It's like, it's lovely. I keep suggesting because the thing is, like I found out quite recently that the Iconics are massive drag fans, and I keep saying to me and my like they like whenever they're like in like Australia, they have like their local like drag shows they go to. It's really sweet, and I keep saying to my girlfriend because obviously we're both drag performers, like we need to do the Iconics and we need to send it to them, and then maybe they'll love us. But
that's amazing.
We keep fighting over who's who though, because we're both like. The issue is that neither of us are pretty enough to be Peyton. That's kind of the issue here. Like, because, like, but yeah, no, I was like, this needs to be a thing. Like, I miss the Iconics so much. Because that's where, like, even the name Iconics come from is because it's, like, drag slang. Like,
that's amazing. I did not know that.
Yeah.
For those of you who are listening for the first time and maybe somehow missed our last episode, 2 things. 1, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yep.
2, Slay here is also a drag queen. And a damn awesome one at that. You can also follow her.
Thank you.
You can also follow her on Instagram.
I do a WWE makeup series on Instagram. I've interrupted you plugging my handle.
No, you're good. It's Slay_Guevara on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Follow her. It's
and dope. Then Slay _Guevara on TikTok. So
and you're also on Twitter, correct?
I am on Twitter, but it's mostly nonsense. Like I don't
like
think I do not post anything of content. Oh my! I'm not sitting on it because it's really uncomfortable. It turns out, but like
it's appropriate for this episode.
Yeah. No, I brought my desk chair while I was moving, and the only thing that I could find that was in any way affordable was a steel chair, which I then had to get on a bus full of old ladies with. And I was wearing a Roman Reigns t-shirt at the time as well, which probably it was. I think when I was buying it, I must have looked like such a nerd. It's like, no, I'm buying this to sit on. Like I'm not like I'm not a weirdo.
Like I am, but not right now.
I am, but just like you don't know that.
Not at this moment. Ignore what's going on here.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I like the count out finish. Bianca didn't look weak. It also, it also shows, it doesn't hurt Nia in any way. But I feel like poor Lana. I don't think that got the effect that WWE were going.
Oh yeah, because she just looked stupid, especially like the amount that she like celebrated at the end of it. It just made her look like such a dumbass. Like it was the thing is though it was backing themselves into a corner with having Bianca as the last man because like they couldn't have her like look stupid, but equally Lana kind of needed to for once not look stupid. So like
right.
It was a double-edged sword, and it was like there's got to have been some other way to do that. Like I don't know.
I agree.
I'd predicted Lana winning, but not like that.
But not like that. Yeah.
What I thought was going to happen was that at some point early in the match, she was going to step out of line. Nia was going to put her through the table again, and then everyone was going to forget she was still in the SmackDown were going to win by like one man, and then everyone forgets that Lana's still in the match, and she was going to come and take it. But
right, this was actually
my ideas.
Last night was actually the first night in 2 months that Lana didn't go through a table. So
I want to know what their budget is for the fucking monitors that they have on the because they like chuck like 3 of them like every week. Also, I want to know which one of the commentators it is that keeps like candy on the desk. Because there's been 3 different like screen caps where she's had like a boiled sweet like next to her head, and it's like I want to know who they belong to.
I feel like it's Samoa Joe.
I was gonna say, I feel like it's Byron Saxton, or like Samoa Joe keeps him in his pocket and just like gives one to Byron whenever he doesn't fuck something up. Like that's it's your reward for not being shit at your job for 5 minutes. There you go.
The candy. The candy next to Lana's head reminds me of when CM Punk was doing commentary. And I forget who it was that John Cena put through a table, and you just hear CM Punk go, "Oh, my diet soda."
Oh my god.
Diet soda. And I'm like, oh, it's diet soda.
One of my other favorite moments from like someone I cannot remember what match it was or who it was for the life of me, but someone on SmackDown gets put through a table, and when the like monitor and stuff go onto the floor, Michael Cole was sitting looking at a picture of his dog. That was like, or I don't know if it was just a screensaver or what, but there was just a picture of a dog on like Michael's like screensaver, and it's like, that's lovely. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Michael Cole is my favorite commentator, and I don't know why. I think it's just because bullying him is really, really fun. Like,
I think it's just because we've gotten so used to him being there.
Yeah, it's Stockholm syndrome more than liking him, but
exactly.
But also, like, we keep talking, like, so obviously in the age of coronavirus and all this other crap, digital drag shows have kind of become a thing. And myself and my partner happen to like run a show kind of together, like we co-host it. We keep talking about doing a digital show that's Cirque du Corset, the name of our show, in your house, and then we host like us hosting it. And I'm committed to doing Michael Cole drag, just because it's so absurd that I think it'd be beautiful. Like, and I've said that I'm just going to intermittently refer to her as like different commentators like all night. Like, it's never the same person. It's like
I'm here for
it's gonna be lovely.
I'm here for
that.
So what else was it? Sami Zayn versus Bobby Lashley went about exactly how I thought.
Yeah. I knew that like, I don't think I actually paid attention to any of that match. Like, because
I was in and out.
Yeah, because like I love Sami Zayn, but he was not beating Bobby Lashley. That was not going to happen. Like,
absolutely not.
Never, ever, ever in a million years. Like. But he kicked Bobby Lashley's eyebrow off at one point. That was amusing. Like,
yeah, I'm convinced that Bobby Lashley doesn't have actual eyebrows.
He doesn't. He genuinely doesn't.
He just
Like, no, he's got some kind of, I think it was like a calcium deficiency or something, so he doesn't have eyebrows. Like, that's just, I looked it up because I was like, they look so stupid.
But come here, draw a mean face on me.
That's literally what he does, though. That's the thing. He used to have stick-on ones, but Vince thought they looked stupid, so he's not allowed to use them anymore. So he just draws them on.
Draw me mad. Okay, ready to go.
Sad eyebrows, like. So he's gonna come out, I feel like, if and when he loses the US title, just like.
Just one eyebrow's gonna be like up here. He's like,
like that. I don't know why this is what it's made me think of, but oh my god. Did you at any point watch what the hell was it called? Was it Camp WWE or something? The little animated thing.
I loved Camp WWE.
And like the episode where like someone shaves off The Rock's eyebrow, and there's like a whole thing dedicated to finding out who the fuck shaved off The Rock's eyebrow. And then like the whole the through line of it is just Cena like whining about how he should be like the main guy, and it's so dumb. I also really appreciate that they got the adult superstars to voice their child personas. Like,
oh my god, the episode where Triple H appears as Triple H's dad, and he goes, "I'm his dad, quadruple H." And I'm like,
nope,
really?
It's also the fact that like Stone Cold Steve Austin is like an 8-year-old and yet is just drunk all the time. Like, it's so bananas, but it's, oh god, it just, yeah. So that's like Bobby Lashley getting his eyebrow kicked off. Very that episode.
But yeah, that match went exactly as I thought it would.
Yeah.
And I like Sami. I do, and I hope from here on out he's booked in a much better light.
Yeah.
Wishful thinking.
Also, here's something that I've noticed. I don't know if you're going to agree with me or not, but I think that Sami Zayn, both in terms of his actual voice and the way that he delivers everything, sounds almost exactly like Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And now that I've noticed this, I can't get... Because you know when Charlie does that thing where he like gets really hyper about something and starts kind of going... like that thing that Sami does where he's just talking over himself all the time. Like...
You know what? Yeah. I see it.
Because I think it was just a total happenstance where I think I was like on TikTok or something and like, well, I was like watching Raw or SmackDown, sorry, and like the Pepe Sylvia bit came up when Sami Zayn was doing a promo, and I was like, what the fuck? It's like interesting. So I think it's also the fact he dresses like him doesn't really help, but I'm just like, I can't get rid of it now that I've heard it, and it's really annoying.
That's fucking great. So my pick next match anyway is my pick, in my opinion, the match of the night, and it was every bit as amazing as I hoped and knew it was going to be. Street Profits and New Day.
Yes, that was absolute highlight of the night.
Match of the night, hands down.
It was so good. I have to I first of all did not realize how much I missed Big E doing the intro bit for them until it happened, and now I realized that we're realistically not going to have it again for ages, and that made me really sad. And then like their entrance gear was amazing. The Street Profits whole backstage bit was great. I think it was like my girlfriend made the observation that you know how they had their whole big promo and like the promo and stuff before the match, and it was all just goofy crap.
Right.
That was shot in Gorilla. Vince McMahon was realistically 10 feet away from them while they were doing that whole thing. And that's just like, seems so bonkers that they were doing all that with their like boss sat like directly in front of them. It's like, that's scary.
Yeah.
Like I would have crapped myself like 17 times if I'd had to even like have like a normal conversation with someone in the presence of Vince McMahon. Like that's...
So I have a funny story related to the New Day.
Mm-hmm.
When my daughter was younger, every time she would see Big E on TV, she would go, "Look, that's Daddy." So every week for about 2.5 years, my kid was convinced that I was Big E.
That's really lovely. That's so cute.
And my wife was in the hospital. She had just gotten surgery done. So I went down to the gift shop and I was wearing my Bootio shirt, which I have like four different Bootios and New Day shirts.
As you should, you know, like.
And so I went to the gift shop and the lady looks at my shirt and she goes, "That's a really nice shirt." And I go, "Thanks." And she goes, "Bootios." And she goes, "Is that one guy? Is that you?" And she goes, "I recognize them. They're from wrestling. Are you a wrestler?" And I was like,
That's like, oh my God, that's amazing.
It really is.
That's really great.
And every time Biggie would come out, Haley, without fail, would point to the TV and go, "Daddy!"
That's really sweet. I love that. Like, oh my God.
So, and one day when I'm not recording an episode, I have to send you a message of me doing Biggie's intro.
Oh my God.
Because I can do it like to a T.
Oh, I can honestly see that. Like, that's, yes.
So, like, I started running with it. Whenever I would hang out with my friends and we would all meet at the bar, I would do Biggie's intro and they go, "Yeah, Biggie's in the house." And I'm like, "You know it."
That's amazing. I genuinely love that.
So it's like I have the body of Big E, but like
Cedric
the
Alexander
hair of Xavier Woods.
Oh, holy crap. You're their like genetically engineered baby. You are the New Day, just in a single person. That's
pretty much
explanation.
I have the charisma of Kofi, the hair of Xavier Woods, and the body of Big E. I am the New Day.
That is honestly iconic. Oh, yeah, no, that match though was absolutely fucking phenomenal. Like, I genuinely wanted it to be longer just because I was like, this is good, I'm enjoying this. Like,
when it was over, I was sad because I was like, I really could have just watched the two of them.
Yeah.
For like another hour.
it was like I wasn't done. Like, give me like another 5 minutes of this, and then maybe another 5 minutes after that. Like, it was so good. The two things that I really enjoyed about it, though, first of all, obviously the New Day are great. We all know the New Day are great. I don't think that there's enough recognition for how fucking brilliant the Street Profits are. Even just from like a technical standpoint, they were both fucking brilliant wrestlers. And like, I think it's because most of the time that I've been watching them, they were in that crap comedy feud with the Viking Raiders and stuff. And then I can't even remember what they did after that. But like, they are genuinely brilliant, and like watching them play off the New Day was just so good. Like, and also, I don't know what it was about Montez Ford's facial expressions, but they were all lovely, and I really enjoyed
his facial expressions are always phenomenal.
I think there was this like one specific moment where I think like Kofi was choking him out or something, and he's just like staring straight down the camera, like eyes bulging out of his head, and it just was like, this is amazing. Like, to even have that kind of like comedic edge just while you're in the ring is really, really impressive. Like,
and yeah, there are some people I was reading on like Instagram and Twitter that there were people like legitimately mad that the New Day lost. And I'm like, okay, I see where that comes from, but like, look at it like this: the New Day are what, 10-time tag team champions, longest reigning tag team champions in history. Their Hall of Fame spots are sealed. Like, I think you can now make the argument, and I mean, people are going to disagree with me, but it's a hill I'm willing to die on. I think it's now time that I can safely say the New Day are probably the greatest tag team in WWE history.
Yeah,
absolutely. The numbers are there. And I know people are going to feel, the Hardys. Yes, the Hardys are there. Edge and Christian.
The Road Warriors is the other one I think people will bring up. Like,
the Road Warriors are the New Age Outlaws. Yes, they are all legendary tag teams. But I am of the opinion that the New Day is now, to me, there's no question.
Yeah, I have to say I kind of agree with you.
They're the greatest tag team in WWE history, especially considering that they had to get themselves over. Because they had what seemed like originally their gimmick was
like the gospel, like that whole thing. Yeah.
It was like every black stereotype you could think of. And it was like, here we go with this. And I was like, here we go. Vince has given us yet another black tag team or stable with a ridiculously stereotypical thing. And then next thing you know, they like beat up Dolph Ziggler backstage. And suddenly they were like, okay, we're on to something now.
I think genuinely, like, the New Day, I think absolutely just define black excellence. They are fantastic. Like, and especially, like, they're kind of, like, there's something that I really, really appreciate about their whole edge that is very just, like, it's a massive, like, middle finger to, like, toxic masculinity, stereotypes, everything. Is like, listen, if we want to have fucking unicorn, like, shiny shit, that's what we're going to do. If we want to have all this, like, stupid shit, this is what we're going to do. I dare you to say something. It's very that, and I really, really, really appreciate it. Like,
and the one thing, it was like, people say that, the people would say that the New Day, like, elevated the careers of Big E, Kofi, and Xavier. And it's like, I agree to an extent. It definitely boosted the careers of Xavier and Big E. But I would argue that Kofi was a bona fide Hall of Famer before the New Day even formed.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, again, like, Kofi by himself, I think, is like 15-time tag team champion.
Yeah, he is fantastic. Like, I genuinely love Kofi. Like, just all of them. Like, I genuinely, like, the New Day and the Street Profits, I genuinely don't have a bad word to say about them. Like, they're all amazing. Never. And it's just...
Besides, anytime I can do this, I'm all for it.
It's like, it's so, that's the one thing that like, the one and only thing that I'm actually quite happy about Big E staying on SmackDown is the fact that he can still throw his entrance attire at Corey Graves. That brings me a lot of joy. I find that so entertaining. Like,
Corey in that cape.
he just like chucks it on. Oh, it's just so great. Like, I love them. That match was fantastic. Like,
And
spots and stuff in there that I was just like, that's fucking lovely. Like,
and the unholy height that Montez Ford reaches when doing that frog splash.
oh god, it's so good, isn't it? Like,
That gives me vertigo every time.
yeah, like, again, it's like if I was to try and do that, not only would I not be able to get even close to that height, but whatever height I got to, I would have vomited on my like opponent before I even hit the floor.
Before
Like,
you even hit the yep, done.
it's like, it's just, I don't understand how the hell people can do that, and it was just amazing. Like, I think that one bit specifically, I was like, this is good. Like, oh, it was definitely the match of the night, I think. Like,
There's just that ooze, and I normally, you know, I always say, like, I try not to make race and religion a factor of my podcast, but just everything about that match last night was just black excellence. And like, I was, and a few friends of mine who are actually wrestlers were all on Facebook saying the same thing. And they were like, this is like, this match alone, if you're a black wrestling fan, like this is it. Like, this is what you wanted to see.
yeah,
And
I think I can completely see how that like would have that effect. Like, it was just so good. Like, I keep talking about how like the one, because people like the whole thing about how a lot of kids watch wrestling. That's the kind of thing that I think a lot of kids need to grow up seeing, is that kind of representation and stuff. Is just perfect. Like,
and it's like, whether the Street Profits won or the New Day won, like, just black wrestling fans in general, like, we won. Like, we got to see
completely. Like, that, it was just fucking amazing match. Like, there's, again, I have not one complaint about it apart from the fact that it ended. That's literally the only problem that I had with it. Like,
but that was just such a beautiful thing. And another, you know, two other competitors who could never do any wrong in my eyes, Sasha and Asuka.
oh yeah,
Such a fantastic match, and I want to see more of the two of them.
Oh yeah, I loved it. The one thing that, like, again, it was another thing, I thought it was too short, but also like, I think part of a fault of that was like the pacing of it was a little bit strange. I think because they were doing so much kind of going in and out of the ring, it felt a little bit static. And then just as stuff was starting to pick up, Asuka got pinned and that was it. Like, I just wanted to, like, because that's the thing, is that they've both got so many kind of like strong suits that would play off each other really well. I don't even think that there was like a fault of the match specifically. I just wanted more of it. Like, plus, I'm really glad that they got a match without Bayley's crap. Like, that's because that's the thing, is their match at SummerSlam, I'm saying was so good right up until it got stupid, and after that, like, and like, just because of that crap ending, I cannot look back favorably on that match. So I'm glad that we kind of got a do-over, and it was really, really fab. Like, it's just like, and I think also as much as I absolutely love Asuka, I really, really am glad that Sasha won, because like, first of all, her pay-per-view track record is god-awful.
It really is.
I think she's had like 3 pay-per-view wins, and 2 of them were this year. Like, it's excluding tag titles, but like, I think she needed also kind of asserting herself as champion. Like, I think that was really important. Like, I really, really liked
it. I agree, and it looks like this title run seems to be the definitive one for Sasha.
Yeah,
I feel like this is going to be the title run that cements Sasha's legacy.
Yeah,
at least that's my hope.
Because Sasha's got to be one of the best women's wrestlers like on the planet currently. Like, she is incredible. So like, I'm really, really glad that she's getting like a proper shot at showing. And because that's the thing, is like, I wanted to like her whole thing with Bayley, and I appreciate the commitment to long-term storytelling and the fact that it was drawn out over a couple of years, and you could kind of, the build up to it was nice. But that kind of point at the start of this year, where it was just like squashing people, like person after person after person, it just got agonizing, and it's like, it turned me off both of them quite a bit.
Right.
Sasha, it took less time to change my mind about. Bayley is still recovering for me, just because she makes herself so unlikable, which is really annoying because she's naturally such a likable person.
Really, right.
Which is what's so frustrating about her as a heel, because like you can't fully buy it because it feels so put on. Because we all remember what she was like beforehand, and it's like that was quite an accurate reflection of what you are actually like as a person, and that suspending disbelief there is quite hard. Like,
right.
So I'm kind of glad that feud seems to be like dwindling for the time being.
Right.
You just don't mind me inhaling my own spit there, but that's. I think I would like to see them bring I would like to see I don't think it's done with, but I would quite like a break from it,
right.
Because again, it's been ongoing for a couple of years. I think that if Sasha's Mania match, if she still has the title at that point, touch wood she will. But I really want that to be someone other than Bayley.
Agreed.
That's so I'm.
I mean, the ultimate feather in Bayley's cap would be winning the Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think she's done just about everything else.
Oh yeah, because she's I think her and Asuka are currently the only women's Grand Slams at the minute. No, Bayley's not, because Bayley's not won Money in the Bank, I don't think. But other than that,
she hasn't won. Yeah, she hasn't won Money in the Bank.
Because Asuka's fully won everything. She's won a Rumble. She's won Money in the Bank. She's had all the titles and But yeah, I think that Bayley winning the Rumble could be great. Equally, I kind of want it to be someone else, just because I think that
Bianca.
we know that she's good. Bianca. I think I'd be really gunning for, or I think that there's been a lot of speculation floating about that Rhea Ripley is about to come up from NXT. I'd quite like to see that happen. But also I want to see her on Raw because I want her to have a thing with Charlotte. Because Charlotte murdered her character for months, after their Mania match. And we need to, she needs a rebuild. So if anyone's going to win it, Bianca, Rhea, she gets called up from NXT, and then maybe if that doesn't happen, I would settle for Bayley. But
right,
that's.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Before I begin my rant, what else was on that card? I think we pretty much got everything down.
I think we just got Drew
main event.
And
the main event,
the sexiest wrestling match of all time.
You know what?
Genuinely.
Yeah, I can't argue that.
I'm sorry, but there's just such a part of me, Drew McIntyre in a kilt. I have been a devout lesbian since I was 13 years old, and I would let that man do anything to me, especially with a kilt.
The sword is a really nice touch.
The sword belongs to Vince McMahon, apparently. I read that somewhere.
Does it really?
It's usually in his office, and they borrowed it for that bit.
The sword
is awesome, and the jamming it into the thing when it was great. One of I really, really like that they're kind of leaning a little bit more into the whole Scottish thing with Drew McIntyre, because one of that's one thing that I think they were really robbed of with the situation with Mania this year, was that obviously at WrestleMania 35, Drew came to the ring with a pipe band, and it was really cool, and I was he was main eventing. Think about how much bigger and more cool that could have been this year, and it just wasn't.
Yep.
But there's something about I don't think that I'm a very patriotic person generally speaking, but there's something about men in kilts that just makes me a little bit moist. It's
fair.
Not all men actually. You know what? 50-year-old football fans that wear them to stuff that can piss off. But Drew McIntyre in a kilt, yes please. That's more of that. Also,
wear a kilt. Note to self.
They're quite a practical sort of garment, I have to say, though. It's comfy, apparently.
Make men wear kilts again. #.
That's the one thing, is don't do the whole true Scotsman thing. Wear fucking underpants.
Yeah,
that's not okay. People actually do that as well, in public. I've been in pubs and stuff after being at rugby games and had 60-year-old men sitting man spreading on bar stools in a kilt with no pants on or underpants on. It's under any normal circumstances that is a decent exposure, but somehow it's fine now. Don't get it. But that's yeah. So wear kilts, but it's important. But also, Roman Reigns, why the fuck did they hide that under a SWAT vest for so long? Like, that is...
Right?
He looks amazing. Like, oh my god. Again, this isn't even me just being momentarily heterosexual. Like, it is just objectively, he looks brilliant. Like,
I remember when he first made his debut back in like FCW before it was NXT, and he dressed in like business attire, and I was like, and then the first time he took the suit and like the shirt and the jacket off, I'm like, now why is he coming out fully dressed again? Why?
yeah. It's like, a man is built like a brick shithouse, and this is what you're putting him in. It makes him look so, like, chunky. Like, he looks like a mall security guard without a shirt on.
And I do
so
have
stupid.
I do have to retract something I said last week.
Mm-hmm.
I did say that I was a bit off-put and confused by the tribal chief thing.
Mm.
But after last night, I really think that I'm digging this.
Okay. It's still taking me a while to get
with
into,
it.
but okay. Maybe I'll be converted at some point. Like
especially like last night when they had the whole thing with Jimmy and Jay.
Oh yeah, that was
and
good,
Roman's
actually.
talking to Jay. He just looks at Jimmy. He's like, "You can go."
You make a good point.
Ooh.
It does work.
Okay.
I was watching, I don't remember what YouTube channel it was, did like a joke predictions video for Survivor Series. And like I think someone's prediction for it was like main event, like Tamina interferes in the match, Roman like hands her rightful place at the head of the table or whatever, and then that's it. And I was like, again, I'm disappointed that it's not going to happen, even though it's never going to happen.
Right.
Because the thing is when you address the fact that she's related to them, you also have to address the Jimmy Snuka-shaped elephant in the room. So, like, let's not go there. But, yeah, no, I think I joked for ages with the Jay, like, the feud with Jay, where I was like, at some point she's just going to turn up, like, scoop him up over her shoulder and just, like mum the shit out of Roman and then just leave, and that's the end of the feud. Like, that's... But, again, it's just... The match was really, really good, though. I was going to say something that's totally gone out of my head. Yeah, this was about where I started to fall asleep. Not through a fault of the match, through a fault of entire bottle of wine, 3:30 in the morning. Like, that was... But it was, like... I think I have fond records. I couldn't tell you anything that happened apart from the ref getting taken out. So...
It ended up being a good match. I mean, Roman stuck to the heel persona, so the win was under dubious circumstances.
Yeah, see, I kind of thought that as well, because I was like, you can't have, like, I knew that something funky was going to happen with that match. I was thinking it was either going to be Jay running interference or Miz cashing in.
Yeah.
Because, like, I was like, Roman can't, like, you cannot have Roman lose cleanly, and Drew's just won his title back. He also cannot afford a clean defeat. So, like,
right.
It needed to happen the way that it happened, and because of that, I wasn't mad at it. Like,
right.
Because that's the thing is, like, I think that a lot of the time when main events kind of fit, well, that wasn't the main event actually, because that was the Undertaker thing. When, like, the last match, the whole thing kind of ends on okay, weird thing happened. That's it. Enjoy your night. Like,
show's over.
Yep. I mean, it's not as bad as like fucking. There's some terrible examples. A lot of which have Roman Reigns in them. Actually, it's like Hell in a Cell with the Fiend and Seth Rollins getting disqualified in a DQ.
Yeah,
it's like,
I to this day that ending will always piss me off.
DQ in Hell in a Cell. Mick Foley did not die for this.
like Mick Foley ended up with a tooth in his nose for you to call a DQ in a Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah, it's like, well, I have to say one of my favorite things is Mick Foley talking about that match though. Like, it's his like comedy special that's on the Netflix, the network, where he's like, no one ever like refers to me as like Mick Foley, like, charity advocate. No one ever calls me Mick Foley, 2-time New York Times best-selling author. It's always Mick Foley, the guy that fell off the cell. It's not fair. Like, it's brilliant. Like, but yeah, no, that's like, if they were gonna end it in circumstances that were fishy, I'm glad that it went down that way, because if it had ended a DQ, I would have been pissed.
Yeah,
Like,
and it makes neither guy look weak.
Yeah, completely. And honest to God, WWE officials and being made out of fucking paper. Like, you shove one of them a little bit, and then they're like unconscious for half an hour. It's like, where are you getting these people from? Like, Christ. It's like my favorite one of like ref officials being hopeless was like, I can't remember what match it was, but when Asuka goes to green mist Sasha and it goes on the official and he's like riding about on the floor for like 15 minutes. It's like, listen, you don't have to make it a whole performance. Just quietly exit and, get another one in, because no one else can get in the ring because you're flailing about. I mean, it's just stop it. Stop it.
I do have to say, though, that the referees are probably some of the best sellers.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
it's like someone pokes It's like ref bumps are always really funny, especially ref bumps over the ropes are always great, because they travel like 18 feet, go through 3 walls, and like it's so funny. Like,
one of my favorite ref sells was probably I don't remember if it was Scott Armstrong or what's the other guy? Is it Robinson? I can't think of his first name. Charles Robinson. That's it. And fucking Big Show and Mark Henry, and the ring collapses.
Oh yeah.
He just
goes flying. Like,
and I was like, that is probably the best sell job of this whole match. Never mind the 2 giant men who just took out the ring. The ref sells it for me.
Yeah. Because I think, was it not like the Fiend? Like, it was like the Fiend and Braun Strowman where they ring recently, and like I think the ref was like at the bottom of the ramp by the end of it. Like, it was. That's always fun. Like, I mean, I think I found out recently. I can't remember how I got into the conversation with my girlfriend, but like the fact that I think it was like, was it Shawn Michaels and Triple H? Like, their Hell in a Cell match, they managed to retire a referee somehow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
He was it Tim White? Yeah, he suffered a legitimate injury.
Yeah, it's like,
yeah.
Well, it's another situation of don't fucking end Hell in a Cell in a DQ because this shit happened. But like, and again, big comedy mallet, fine. Smaller mallet, no, illegal. Can't do that.
No, that one we got. Nope, gotta cut it. Can't do it here.
Nah, pat your shit. We're leaving. Like, so that match was good, and then I think something that we managed to totally gloss over in the last episode, Undertaker retiring. Like,
I didn't want to mention it because, I mean, even after 30 years, I wasn't ready for it.
Yeah. See, that's I genuinely love Taker, but again, new fan, I don't think I fully appreciated the magnitude of everything until watching that and then turning around and looking at my 25-year-old 6'2" scary girlfriend crying her fucking eyes out. At like, and it was at the video package as well. It wasn't even like during his like bet. Like, but it was, oh god.
Once they started calling out all the superstars, I think by the time they called out JBL, I'm sitting on the couch and I'm just like, oh.
Yeah. I slept through quite a substantial portion of that, but once again we move.
The Paul Bearer thing was it for me.
I wasn't ready for that. That
was it for me.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have said that was the thing. They weren't emotional until that happened. And then I have to say, like, during his little speech thing, that's the most, like, human that I think I've ever seen Undertaker while he's being Undertaker. Because there's a number of moments where you could see him just kind of pausing because you knew that he was getting emotion, but gimmick doesn't permit that. And, like, it was just, like...
And, it was the same thing with Vince for me.
Vince getting emotional is like watching a lizard emote is like, I think it was in reference, I can't remember what it was in reference to that someone said this, but someone was talking, it was like saddest events in wrestling or something, And someone referred to like the fact that you have to get emotional if Vince McMahon is emotional is because watching God cry is hard. Like, it's
what?
like,
Yeah, that I think that's
yeah,
up to a T.
it's just like that was so bizarre. And like the number of people, like the people that came out though, I feel like I'm changing the tone a bit here, but I was monumentally upset they deprived the Godfather of his hose.
Yeah,
and I don't know why, but as a matter of principle, it just felt like it
he
should have
needs
been
to
a
have
thing.
like
He needs his hose. Again, it's like one of these things. As a lesbian, I love it. As a feminist, I hate it, but it still is necessary. Like,
right.
which is the case with a lot of wrestling. Honestly, just anything that happened Attitude Era to like the mid 2000s.
Also,
Very divided feeling.
note to Vince in WWE: if Mick Foley can get in to the Hall of Fame as himself, Mankind, Dude Love, and Cactus Jack, you need to fucking put the Godfather in as Papa Shango. I'm sorry, it has to happen.
It just has to happen. Like,
you got to do it.
I have to say, one of my first experiences with Papa Shango, this is really surreal, but like I got bored a couple of weeks ago, and so obviously I think we're unanimous in agreement the 2020 WWE video game is awful. Like, it was abysmal. I got bored a few weeks ago and I decided to play through the careers mode, which is honkin'. But like, that game is like kayfabe compliant to a fault in that they set up a feud with the Undertaker, but the way that they have to establish this is they just have to use all the spooky people and make it out like it's a real thing. So I had to like go into a boiler room and like fight with Papa Shango, who like opened a portal to hell out of a furnace or something. And then like, and then like you get there, and then there's like Matt Hardy on a pirate ship, and then you get to a haunted house, and they've got Nikki Cross scuttling about on the ceiling and stuff. It's just all weird. So that was like,
it was odd.
That happened, and I was like, right, I feel like I now need to educate myself on Papa Shango, because like I need to know that he did some like that. I need to know whether or not it was all that mental.
Yes, I want to say. Because his feud with the Ultimate Warrior comes to mind. When he fucking puts the curse on Ultimate Warrior, and Ultimate Warrior's talking, and all of a sudden just black shit just leaking from every orifice on Ultimate Warrior. And you just see Papa Shango in the corner, and he's got like this little like skull thing, and he's just going like... And I'm like, oh shit! Like as a child, I remember legitimately being terrified.
I can understand that, honestly.
And my cousin would use it as a threat. And he was like, "Oh, we put the Papa Shango curse on." I'm like, "Oh God, no!
I don't want to leak black stuff.
Don't do that."
Oh, see, I always find that really strange when like spooky characters like have to interact with people that are like serious, actual wrestlers, and aren't undead and stuff. Like the Fiend and John Cena was a weird one for me, because it was so like in the batshit Firefly Funhouse verse, but it was also John Cena, which is just strange. Like,
apparently that storyline is still continuing in the background.
I would like that. I'm excited to see where that goes. Because the thing is, John Cena's dead now. He killed John Cena. John Cena is done.
Yeah, and apparently, like, I was reading like some kind of article, and that storyline has been continuing this entire time. So, like, while John,
in the Funhouse and stuff like that.
Yeah, so like while John Cena has been off doing all of his other things, the storyline in WWE still is that he's trapped in a void outside of the Funhouse.
That's brilliant.
And I was like, that's amazing.
That's really, Bray Wyatt thinks about everything. Like, I watched this whole thing of like the entire explanation of like the Fiend and like all the stuff in Firefly Funhouse and like it's so cool. Like, man's a genius. Like, Christ, it's so cool. Like, but once again, I'm still in recovery from Abby the Witch saying fuck on Firefly Funhouse a couple of weeks ago. I don't know where that came from, but it was just so lovely. Like, telling Randy Orton to go fuck himself because he burnt her house down was just, it was lovely. But yeah, anyway, like, Undertaker thing, I thought that I was going to get emotional, and I did, and it was good. Like, the whole...
There's very few moments in my life as a wrestling fan where I've legitimately shed real life like there's been quite a few moments that have made me shed tears and cry, but there's been maybe only 4 ever where I've like grown man sobbed,
Yeah.
and that was definitely moment number 4 for me. 'Cause, yeah,
Yeah.
as a kid, you're like, he's the Undertaker. He's the physical embodiment of death.
Yeah,
He's
so he's
going
been dead for ages. He's not
yeah,
gonna die. He'll be here.
yeah, exactly. He's going to be around forever. And then to
Yeah.
finally hear him say that the Undertaker is going to rest in peace, and you're like, no.
That did get me a bit. Like, that was very sort of. And then obviously Paul Bearer kicked in straight after that, and it was all just like. And it was such a short like speech, but it was so powerful. And like, I think again, that's something that I really don't think that I got to appreciate as much as a lot of fans probably will. That he's such an integral part of some people's lives, and like. Because again, with my girlfriend, he's been her hero since she was like 4 years old, and it's very much like a part of your childhood, kind of like it's the kind of like real like I went a bit existential when I was watching it actually, because it was very, like I said, it was very human, and like, God, this man's an actual person, and like it's just the finality of it and everything. It was just so like I'd seen his retirement coming since the last ride finished, but I still wasn't ready for it. And even again, that's as someone who's been watching the shit for a year. Like, that's like I've seen one Undertaker match as it happened. I've watched more other than that, by the way, before anyone shouts at me. But like that, the only like Taker match that I watched live was the Boneyard match, and like,
which was a phenomenal match.
It was great. Like,
pun intended, because AJ.
I have to say again, I think that also like I kind of like bullied my girlfriend a little bit for this, because she was when announced that this was his retirement. She was very like, "What the fuck? Where did that come from?" And I was like, his last match literally finished with him riding off into the night, like away, the last ride, as it were. Like, that's, and I was like, but it was like a lot, but it was brilliant. Like,
I could probably do an entire episode on Undertaker himself, which I more than likely will definitely do in the future.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I'd have to. It's only right. But I have so many memories of the Undertaker, and I just, again, and I'm throwing that out there. The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels match at WrestleMania 25, to me, is the greatest match in WWE history, like, hands down.
Yeah.
I know people are going to listen and be like, well, what about this one? What about this one? WrestleMania 25, that was the best match of all time. Nothing will ever top it for me. As much as I praise CM Punk versus John Cena at Money in the Bank for the brilliance that was.
Yeah.
I remember seeing Taker beat Hulk Hogan for the WWF title back then. And I mean, the Undertaker he's pretty much beaten anybody who's been who's considered a legend. Like Hulk Hogan, granted, he's only beaten Brock maybe twice, but
yeah,
Kurt Angle, like John Cena, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, like he's run through
everyone. Like, he genuinely is like absolutely. I think it was JBL. I think it was JBL on the kickoff show. It was one of the few intelligent things that man's ever said in his life. It was something about how like everyone knows John Cena, knows Roman Reigns or Hulk Hogan, but the Undertaker is like a wrestler for wrestling fans, and he's like, even if he's not as universally known as like Cena or whatever, which arguably kind of is, he's always going to have such a monumental place for everyone who's ever been a fan of wrestling. Like, it's
every generation has had their star. Hulk Hogan was the star of his day. John Cena was the star of his day. The Rock and Stone Cold were the stars of their day. But Undertaker transcended
All
being,
of that.
yeah, he transcended being a generational star. Like
Mm-hmm.
when you say WWE superstar, I don't think there's anybody more synonymous with that term than the Undertaker.
Done absolutely. Like
Like
he is WWE effectively. Like
exactly.
that's
Like like people always say TNA, and rightfully so. TNA is the house that AJ Styles built,
mm-hmm.
and granted, WWE may be Vince McMahon's company, but the Undertaker built the WWE.
Absolutely. And again, I think it's just like the longevity of it and the fact that like even like kids that are kind of are growing up now and kind of everyone's aware of him and like it's just he's gonna like last forever completely. Like that legacy is one that is not going anywhere just because he was so phenomenal and like it's just
When I have this thing, when when I decide to watch wrestling with my grandkids,
mm-hmm.
the Undertaker is who I'm going to use.
Yeah.
It's like we've never seen wrestling before, and it's like, well, I'm gonna tell you about the Undertaker. Like the Undertaker
Mm-hmm.
should be everyone's like gateway drug into
Yeah.
professional wrestling.
The first match that I ever watched was Taker Mankind Hell in a Cell. Like
See,
that's he's a fantastic intro that captures everything that pro wrestling is because it's because he's such a talented in-ring performer, but also there's elements of it that are just like camp and bizarre and like the kind of drama of it. I don't think anyone kind of encapsulates that more than he does. Like it's
and it's just, and everybody always associates, the whole rest in peace thing to the Undertaker, but I feel like there's like the underrated Undertaker quote, which I've always enjoyed more than rest in
mm-hmm.
peace, and it was, and I would love whenever he said it, and he would always just go, "Try me, I'll make you famous," and I'm like,
Okay.
I love that. Try me, I'll
Yeah.
make you famous.
I think that's the thing. It really, really speaks to the kind of prevailing nature of no fucker else on the planet could have their ring entrance last like 5 fucking minutes, and the entire time they are just walking very, very slowly with their head down. No one else could pull that off.
We
Like,
would, my friends and I would always make a joke immediately after the Royal Rumble was over,
mm-hmm.
and they were like, "Okay, so the Undertaker should start making his entrance now."
Yeah, it's like it's so. I love it though because it's one of these things that I think that is one kind of big thing that I'm always going to wish that I was able to see was Taker entrance in person because I think that it's one of these things that you've got to be there to really really feel it and like
I
that's
I did get to see. That's the one thing I will say I got to experience live. I did get to see the Undertaker's entrance in person and ringside. And like when you watch it on TV, it's one thing, but when you hear that first gong go off, I don't care where you are in the arena, you get that chill.
Yeah, and it's like the kind of the lights going off and everything. It's just it's beautiful. I think I remember my girlfriend talking about she went to again biggest Undertaker fan possibly ever. Went to like paid through the arse to go to WrestleMania. She had our tickets were like $1,000 to travel from Scotland. It was the whole thing. Paid to go see WrestleMania. And it was the year the streak got broken. Like
You guys had to go to that Mania? Damn.
it was like no, I think I was like I don't know how the fuck old I was. I didn't even know she existed by this point, but I was like, I can just imagine like the level of dreams being shit on that would have been involved there. And it's like, oh no, sweetie. Like, had to be that one.
Yep. Like of all the Manias you could go to, you picked that one.
That one. And I mean, I have to say though, like if anyone was gonna break the streak, it had to be Brock. Like I don't people would have accepted anyone else was the thing because that's the thing is people don't like Brock. I don't know why I'm gesturing at you with a paintbrush. People don't like Brock Lesnar, and I think the level of fucking heat that you get off of being the person that does that is like that's.
I have mixed feelings about it because while I feel like there is probably no one who could have done it but Brock, I feel like he didn't need it.
Yeah, I think I've seen Taker say in interviews that he wanted Roman to break the streak, and like
I would have been totally fine with Roman. Hell, I thought it should have been CM Punk.
That's actually, yeah, I kind of get that.
That match between them is so underrated.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody, like I gush about Taker versus HBK 1 or 2. All 4 of the 3 or 4 may have been 4 of the Taker Triple H matches are great. But I feel like the Undertaker versus CM Punk match just gets thrown under the radar so much because WWE wants so badly for you to forget that CM Punk was a thing.
Oh, yeah. It's like, remember back in the day when CM Punk was a wrestler, not just a chant from that people do when they get bored. Like, that's the one thing that I think makes the fake crowd noise so obvious, is that whenever it gets boring, they don't pipe in a CM Punk chant. Like, that's... So it kills the realism. Like...
Right.
But, yeah.
But, yeah, it was tough to see. And, I mean, I know it has to happen sometime.
Yeah.
Like, eventually the day will come when Triple H hangs it up for good. Jeff Hardy, R-Truth, all those guys are at the ages now where,
Where you're getting to... Jeff Hardy especially makes me so nervous because of the shit that guy does. It's like, this isn't sustainable. Like, it's like... Part of me is like, stay here, but stop it, so that you don't die, but also he's not really Jeff Hardy without all the... So it's like, just please don't die. That's all I want.
Exactly. Like, just don't, just don't kill yourself.
Yeah, there's a few people that is like that, where it's like, I love you, and I don't want you to go away, but also please stop it now before something happens. Like,
right.
The other big one for me is JR. As much as I love him, he needs to retire. Like, it stresses me out so much because he just doesn't seem like he wants to be there, and it's just
he's already kind of said that like AEW is pretty much the end of the road for him.
Yeah, because that's the other thing, is he just looks like he's about to drop dead just at any given second, and it's like, I don't want to see that. Like,
right,
sweetie, please. Like, but there's I think there's a few people like that where it's like, no one wants them to go, but we're gonna need to get ready for it because it's coming. Yep. Like,
which, fun fact now, with Undertaker retired, that leaves 3 active wrestlers left from the Attitude Era.
Wait, so who are they then? Because I'm blanking now.
Okay, so one...
Jeff Hardy qualifies, I think, technically, doesn't he?
Jeff Hardy is 1. Edge would be 2. And the third one, shocker, R-Truth.
Yeah, because he's been around for fucking ages. Like, that's...
R-Truth. He was Kate Quick during the Attitude Era.
Yeah. Yep. It's like... I was trying to think... I kind of can't mentally divorce Edge from Randy Orton. So I was like... It took me a second to be like, where the fuck was he? What was he doing? And it's like, oh yeah, he didn't exist yet. Yeah. Wasn't he kicking people's heads off their shoulders at that point? Like,
yep.
But I think he was being dishonorably discharged from the military at that point. But that's
the shade.
I don't like it. I'm sorry. Like, listen,
shade.
You go about shitting in people's gym bags. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna be nice to you. I've said it in the TikTok. If Randy Orton wants to like fight me, I'm ready and willing whenever he is. Like, he's got previous for hitting women. I'm fine with it. I will kick his ass, or I will at least try. Like,
real.
A lot of talk for a woman who's like just over 5 foot, but
right. Absolutely.
I try my best.
But I mean, overall, if I had to grade Survivor Series, I'd say it was a solid. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a B plus only because the Street Profits and New Day match kind of just saved that whole thing.
Yeah. I was going to give it a solid B because the actual Survivor Series matches were crap, but the rest of it was quite good. So I'll get points for that. Like, it's like when the whole gimmick that your pay-per-view revolves around, when you can't, be bothered making those matches good.
Good, yeah.
Then it's, what's the point?
I think it's time to bring back bragging rights, personally.
Yeah. I think, or like, what year was it? It was in the early 2000s where the team that won got control of their show for a month. Bring that back. That would be a time.
Exactly.
But also, then we'd have had to put up with Matt Riddle in charge of Raw for a week and actually like jumped out my window. Like,
I mean, let's be real. That was the only way fucking Maven was ever getting a title match.
Yep.
That's the only way Maven was ever getting anywhere near the title.
What the fuck happened? I put my head forward and now I've got a fringe or a mullet. One of the two.
You laughed yourself into a Superman haircut for a second.
I was like, I think I was going for like a full mullet situation because I was trying to do like an Undertaker homage thing because I couldn't find my giant hat. And then like it just kind of went a bit. We've got curtains. I look like sort of like the like sensational Sherry's like goth niece or something. Like that's what this is Gilly the eye shape has given me, but it's
yeah, so it was a solid B, and
yeah. I don't entirely regret staying awake for it, but I think if I'd picked my moments to sleep during parts of it, probably would have enjoyed it slightly more. Like two of the three singles matches and the tag team match were good. The rest of it, take or leave.
Rest I could have done without. The Taker tribute alone was an A.
That was worth it. Yeah. That was fantastic.
Yeah. The Taker tribute alone was an A, so that's why the pay-per-view gets a B.
One and only complaint that I have about that, and I know that there's nothing could have been done about this, that really deserved to have happened in front of a crowd, and that's one thing that I'm really mad about the current global bastard. Like it's what he deserved completely, because like as much as it was like piped in crowd noise through the arse, like the roof would have been blown off the fucking building if he'd done that in front of a crowd. So I was like, that's the only thing that I would have changed about it, but equally I probably wouldn't have, because I don't want people to die. So that's.
But yeah, like it was a solid pay-per-view, but I'm already in WrestleMania mode. I mean, I am gonna watch TLC, but I'm ready for the Rumble.
Yeah,
honestly,
fuck TLC.
I'm sorry.
I don't like the gimmick like any pay-per-views that are all one match type can just piss off. Like TLC can go, Extreme Rules, don't care. Hell in a Cell, don't care. That one they did that was all fatal 4-ways for some reason, don't give a shit. Like it's just let stuff happen and don't put it in boxes because it makes it shit. Like,
I would say the one gimmick pay-per-view I would like to see come back, and they've only done it once, and I don't even think people realize that there was an actual gimmick, was Breaking Point.
All right. Oh, because that was all submissions, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they've only done it once, and I'm like, I'm normally not a huge fan of gimmick pay-per-views. The only gimmick pay-per-view I've ever been a fan of is TNA's Lockdown. And that's only because legitimately every single match is inside the cage.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you're going to do a Hell in a Cell, have all the matches be in a Hell in a Cell. Don't.
But then that all have to like have enough feuds ongoing that a Hell in a Cell match makes sense, and they can't fucking do that because most WWE apparently couldn't book their way out of a paper bag. But the other one that I like. Oh fuck! I've totally lost thread of my like train of thought there, which is really annoying me. Nah, it's gone. Never mind. Scratch that one. Like I think I cut you off for whatever the hell I was trying to say there as well, which is even worse. Like that's
you're fine, no worries.
Oh no, it was someone else moaning about pay-per-views, but I cannot remember what I was on about. Oh yeah, what like can we have Evolution 2, please? That's all I want.
Yeah,
give me more of that.
it's about time, and there's
Fuck
enough
TLC.
women.
Oh, that's my other thing. If we're gonna bring in any more gimmick pay-per-view type, I want an entire pay-per-view of blank on a pole matches. That's my new proposition. Or like one competitor's mum on a forklift. Like that's sensible booking. Judy Bagwell on a forklift. Think that happened.
Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre in a kilt on a pole match. Book it.
Yes, I'm into that. Because I mean, I have to say though, like I'm saying that like I didn't spend like ages whinging when they had that guitar on a pole match with Elias and Jeff recently, but that was just shite. Like,
do it. Nia Jax versus Lana. Announce table on a pole.
You have to win by putting the person through the announce table while it's still on the pole, and given that it's Nia doing it in the process, probably killing them. That's because that. Yeah, it just makes me nervous whenever she gets near anyone that's smaller than her at this point. Is that I think she had a spot with Liv, and I was like, please don't hurt her.
Right.
Like, please, just be careful, be gentle. Like, because I think that's the entire issue with her is that she's just got no concept of her own size and just throws people about and forgets that they have skeletons and can get hurt. So,
exactly. But yeah, like I said, I'm ready for 2021 in general.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Like, bring on Rumble, bring on Mania. Let's get to it.
Yeah, completely. Like, because yeah, I'm excited for the Rumble. Honestly, like it's good.
And as always, thank you for joining me, Slay. This was exciting.
You're very, very welcome. I've had a fantastic time. And I did not forget the name of the pay-per-view once this time, which I'm very... That was my notes for this whole thing, because I remember I watched it back and I was just like cringing for 40 minutes. I was like, why the fuck did you... I called it SummerSlam, and I called it SummerSlam with a hell of a lot of conviction as well, which was just ridiculous. So that's my notes for this. It was like, have fun, be yourself, remember the name of pay-per-view. Like, that's it. Like,
look, that's all I ask for. Have fun, be yourself. Know what you're
remember what the fuck we're talking about.
Remember what the topic is, which that's always the case. It's always this show always ends up going off the rails.
Yeah.
I did an episode which I'm actually going to put up soon about a fucking murder trial, and still proceeded to make jokes for half the episode. So.
I saw that. I saw you posted about that, and I was like, so that's not that Dee Blanchard, really?
Yes.
Like, what? And I'm buzzing, actually. Like, that sounds so good. I'm, like, weirdly fixated on that case. It's so interesting. Like, that's... Well, I'm excited for this, then.
Well, you, as well as you guys at home, are going to want to tune in, because that episode will be up soon.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, I thank you guys at home for joining me for another episode of the Blatino Nerd. Also would like to announce, look for the Slay and Jay Connection podcast coming really, really soon. Nice surprise for you guys. Yeah. I will catch you guys on the next one, and as always, keep it nerdy.